Hey everybody, welcome back to Gideon Stuff. Last week we talked about interesting takes on the bowie. Shut up! Hard to find any silence on this place, I swear. I'm trying to film videos. As I was saying, last week we talked about some interesting takes on the bowie knife. The bowie knife has a clip point style blade. However, it is a very aggressively clipped blade. And there's another style of clip point that's very popular, and I'm a big fan of it. And in many ways, it's probably a more appropriate EDC blade shape than the bowie. So, let's go ahead and get into it. That blade shape is the straight clip point. We have 10 knives here. Let's go ahead and get into them. So, first one I want to talk about is the Buck 110 Slim Pro. And the reason I want to bring this one up first is because the original Buck 110 has kind of the more aggressive bowie clip. These newer ones, the Pro lines, they have a straight clip. So this kind of brings to point some of the advantages of a straight clip in the EDC world. The bowie blade is definitely still a very recommendable and very useful blade shape for outdoor hunting, kind of harder use stuff. This kind of brings a little more everyday utility to the blade shape. So we still have plenty of straight, a little bit of belly, but we can now get to that tip a lot easier. We can do some of our utility cuts, stuff like that. So really, really cool there. And yeah, this is a fantastic example. Very classic straight clip point. S30V blade with the Paul Bose heat treat, micarta handles, and of course it is a back lock. Has the pocket clip. There we go. I'm going to do this video like we did the last one too, where I stab things into the wood because I like stabbing stuff into wood. So, next. This is the Kubi Flash. Some people might call this a reverse Tonto. Don't. No. No. It is not. This is really cool. And this is probably my favorite style of straight clip point. This is kind of what I would call a short straight clip. And one of the reasons I love it so much is that, to me, it kind of combines attributes of a Wharncliffe with a drop point. So you get plenty of belly right here, like you would on a drop point or something. You can see here, it curves up towards a tip, unlike on a Wharncliffe. But like a Wharncliffe, that tip is aligned to where you can still get to easy utility cuts. So that's really, really cool. You have nice piercing capability, utility cutting capability, and still plenty of edge for slicing. This knife, this is an older one. I bought this years ago, like when I was very first getting into the hobby. But Kubi is still making this model. It looks a little bit different now. They have like solid color G10, different pocket clip, thank goodness, because the one on this sucks. And if they're anything like all the other modern Kubis, it's pretty fantastic build, and it will be a performer for sure. So, D2 steel G10, these come in at like, well, when I bought this one, it was like 25 bucks. I think nowadays they go for like 35 to 40. Okay, moving on. The knife whose popularity will never die. The Andrew Dimco 80-20.5. Now, this knife, I believe, is listed as a drop point most places. But no, look, that is a straight clip. That edge is, the spine is clipped. And this is a great clip point blade shape. In fact, probably one of my favorites. I might say that about all of these. But very excellent shape there. This knife itself is just great. I have a review of this. Everyone has a review of this. If you're curious, go check out some of those reviews. Shark lock, of course. But as to the blade itself, very, very nice shape for outdoor use. You can get some drilling done. You've got nice cutting profile. It's a pretty sturdy blade, fairly thick behind the edge. But the small size of this knife makes it fairly easy to jump between EDC and hard use tasks. I would not say this is at the top of either of those classes. Like, it's not the best EDC knife ever, and it's also not the best hard use knife ever, but it does serviceable in both categories. And there's all kinds of versions of these coming out now. You'll be able to find one that you like. Next up, probably the most underrated budget knife in the world, in my opinion. That's a Kershaw Highball. This is an absolutely excellent knife. I don't know why more people don't talk about it, but look at that gorgeous blade. Look at it. We have the gray up top. We've got the satin on the grind. Really, really excellent. Looks fantastic, doesn't it, with that pop of blue? It's a steel frame lock. And, I mean, I guess I can kind of see why this knife may not be that popular. Steel frame lock. It's fuller deployment only, but the reverse flick and the thumb flick are both very nice. It's got a good detent. Very comfortable in hand. Excellent jimping on the spine. But what really makes this a great knife is that clip point blade. And because this knife is so small, you hold it like this, get your finger up there towards the tip, just lay your finger on the clip, and it's like you have a knife growing out of your finger. Like, it is so intuitive to use, so easy to get into your cuts. You can do just whatever you want with this. Excellent, excellent knife. More people need to own this. I swear, it's such a good knife. It really is. All right. Moving on. Maybe. Moving on, let's take a look at something very similar to that Demco we just looked at. And that is the Cold Steel Engage. Brand new for this year. Been carrying this knife a lot lately. Really trying to test it out before I leave the woods and go back to school. Pretty cool knife. I'm pretty impressed with it. Also, I mean, some of the similarities with this knife, it has the Atlas lock, which is very similar to the Shark lock. And also, a lot of people call this a drop point. It's not. Again, straight clip. And what makes this knife so good, it's big. It's a lot bulkier than the Demco. S35VN blade steel. The Demco, in case I didn't mention, was Austin, and the Kershaw's D2. But what I love about this blade so much is actually this poon spoon here. You can get up into there like that, and it's kind of like a bigger version of what I was talking about with the Kershaw. You can get to your cuts really nice, really easy, very, very good. You have this big choil here you can choke up into, and when you're choked up into there, your thumb rests on there. Get some powerful cuts, get some real good pushes. If you're working with wood, which I have been doing a lot of woodwork with this, it works really well. The Atlas lock is cool. Right there, I'm pulling back the Atlas lock before flicking it. I don't really need to because this knife has no detent. But really cool knife. The ergonomics are good. Yeah, full review coming soon, but definitely a very good contender for straight clip point. Great straight clip points. It's also a fantastic outdoors knife because something that you get with a straight clip point, I've already been talking about, you get a little bit of straight, a little bit of belly, and then why do you need a tip that's, you know, kind of pointed forward, if that makes sense? That is great for not only piercing, but prying. I know, don't pry with your knife, but this one can take it. I pried pallets apart with this. It can take it. But it's also great for like drilling. So if you have, you know, if you want to drill a hole into wood, it's great for that. So this is going to knock down all the others, I want to bet. Moving on, let's get back into some EDC territory with the Syncut Snap. That is a beautiful straight clip point blade. In fact, oh my gosh, that is just fantastic. This is a really great knife. My biggest complaint with this knife is that there's like no lock bar access. Oh, and also it has Syncut Wee Savivi's stupid bead blast, and this knife has like rusted to pieces. I took it hiking with me Like one time, I cut an apple, put it in my pocket, you know, wiped it off a little bit, put it in my pocket. Usually with 9CR, I don't really worry. I'll clean it when I get home. This one rusted, and it's because of that stupid coating. I have a video coming out where I rant about that. So, stay tuned. Ouch! That wasn't the right way to do that. There we go. But yeah, again, just an excellent EDC blade shape. Again, you have good edge for all your long slicing cuts. You can really stay in your cuts. It works great. You have a great tip, puncturing your blister packs, doing your utility cuts. It works really, really well. Great knife, very affordable. I highly recommend it. Good sim cut. Moving on, let's go back to cold steel territory. How's that sound? With the Cold Steel Code 4. And this knife, to me, is kind of a unicorn knife. It's kind of and also a Goldilocks knife. What do I mean by that? I feel like this knife is just right for so many things. The price is good. These are about $100. They've gone up a little bit, but still, for aluminum, S35VN, great value. Especially, I mean, Cold Steel does good build quality. The ergonomics are good. This knife is a hard worker, and that's kind of one of the things that makes it so interesting. Is I have never had a knife that transitions so smoothly from hard use to regular EDC. This knife is equally happy in my pocket in the woods or at college. It works so good, and a lot of that is down to the blade shape. Very, very good blade shape. That tip is really positioned excellently, and it's not a thin tip. It's pretty thick, so you're not going to break it, but it's definitely puncturific. It's a word now. But, yeah, just a really cool knife. If you don't have a Code 4, you definitely should get one. Fantastic value. Just an excellent knife, too. Again, it's a real workhorse in any environment. So, get one of those. Next up, this is a knife that I at first did not know was a clip point until I bought it, because in pictures, it doesn't really look like one. That's a Kaiser Bag Lighter 2. And even if I hold it like this, you're like, what? That's a drop point. But if you look carefully, that edge is the tip is actually clipped ever so slightly. So it counts, and it's in my video. This is a fantastic knife. I have a video talking about this knife. It's just really good, guys. For an EDC knife, it checks all the boxes. It's comfortable. It's got amazing action. In fact, it might have... Actually, it does have the best action of anything on the table right now. I've been carrying the heck out of this. I love it. I love it so much. I can't believe I didn't get one sooner. They're just absolutely a home run. 100%. 154 cm. You can get these in every flavor imaginable. Liner lock, reversible pocket clip. Yeah, just really kind of the definition of EDC knife. It's simple, but it's good. You know, it's just so perfect. It's really good. Kaiser Bag Lighter gets a glowing recommendation from me any day. Well, guys, I gave up on the stabbing into the board. I know, I feel you. But that's okay, we only have 2 knives left. So, I know, we've shown a lot of, very, budget stuff. Or, some things that are at least, if not budget, kind of more on the hard use end of things. So, do you think it's gonna rain? I don't know. But let's go ahead and show something for all you bougie boys out there. And it's actually not really that bougie, but the Best Tech Horus. I love this knife. It is so comfortable. This is probably the most comfortable titanium frame lock I've ever held. I look like a midget right now. Let's tilt down a little. Slightly better. So, very comfortable. Very, very good straight clip point blade. Reminds me a lot. They're very similar. S35EN titanium frame lock. Very good knife. Great action. You have a fuller that you can reverse flick off of if you don't miss it. And just a good looking knife too. Very, very... This is a very hard working knife. I've had this for a long time. And this is one of those knives I've thought about selling a couple of times. And then I carry it again. I'm like, no, I still like using it. So, you know, very good knife. It definitely gets my seal of approval. All right, last knife. And this one is not a pocket knife, but you will notice that the title of this video is not 10 awesome folding straight clip knives. No. This knife is probably one of my favorite knives ever. A knife that I have used and abused. It's my Cold Steel SRK. This, I've said before, is the perfect outdoor knife. And yes, mine is absolutely beaten to shambles. But look at that blade. Excellent straight clip point. Great size on these knives. I mean, perfect size for outdoor, you know, work knife, survival knife, etc. Just excellent knife. This one's getting beaten to crap. I need to sharpen it again. The edge actually rusted a little bit because I had it out in the rain during that big flash flood, and yeah, it was got rusted. I have a call coming in, so we will be right back. Okay. Alrighty, so I mean that pretty much wraps it up. Just this has been the best fixed blade I've ever owned. It's a budget fixed blade, SK5 steel. These come in about $45–50. Really, really love this knife. It goes out to the woods with me to work every day, and it's just a fantastic knife. I love it. It's part of me. I've had this knife for like 2 years now, and yeah, it's a good knife. Everything I need in a working slash survival knife, I got right here. So that's gonna be the list today, guys. Tell me down below what your favorite of these were, or what your favorite straight clip point knife that I didn't include here is. Yeah, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe below. I've been Gideon. We've been talking about straight clip points. Maybe next week we'll talk about gay clip points. And I'll see you in the next video. Adios.